So I'm thinking about some of the challenges that we have as a community when it comes to our perception of leaders and how our perception of leaders translates to the way we treat leaders. And it creates a really interesting dynamic and a dilemma for us as a community. And what I'm thinking of is the way in which we want everything from the leader. We want the person who is in charge or the person who has assumed responsibility to maintain a certain standard, not only of performance, but of character. To the point that we want them to be a savior, right? It's something that I think is very deeply ingrained in our people. We yeah, I guess there's a savior complex, you may call it. We have a savior complex, and you can see it in how we perceive celebrities, for example. We really want celebrities to be more than just celebrities. We want entertainers to be more than just entertainers. If it's an athlete, if it's an artist, a comedian, we want them to be something more than just good at what they do. Okay, they've got to uphold some other set of right behavioral and mystique. They've got to have a certain mystique about them. Because they're so good, or they're so honest, or they're so helpful, or they're so down to earth, or they're so real, or something. They've just got to have something other than just being a good singer or just a good baseball player. And the moment they don't have that thing, or we don't perceive that thing in something that they do, then it's all is lost, right? And that's the reality of it. I'm not going to talk about what should be or what shouldn't be. I'm just going to say that that's the reality. That is how we look at it. Now, the difficulty with that is you're never going to have enough people in the world who fit the bill. Never. It's just statistically impossible. And time has proven this out. When you start doing the math on the lives of all the greats, there's always something that is human. Okay, there's always something that's human about them. And so what we end up doing is we end up either failing to support people who are suitable leaders because we know them and we know that they're less than perfect, or we have people who we have revered as leaders who have done great things, and then when we learn more about their lives, or something is revealed about their lives later in their career, or even after they've gone on, then they're no longer eligible to be even held in high esteem without somebody bringing into their humanness. And so that's also the reality. Okay, that's also the reality. That is part of what we're facing right now as a community, and it leaves us in a state of perpetual suspicion and inertia, because everybody's looking for reasons to disqualify the next person. It's a disease. It's a disease. Instead of taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented by the people who are actually doing the work, we're spending an inordinate amount of time scrutinizing people with the intent to disqualify them, right? And so I really I want to give another aspect of the reality also, right? And I mentioned this in another video that I did about Deion Sanders, because this is an interesting. Deion Sanders presents a really interesting case, where for all intents and purposes, Deion Sanders walked on water down there at Jackson State. He did great things all the way across the board, but people don't like the fact that he's leaving Jackson State, and so then it becomes, that becomes the smear. That becomes the justification for derogatory statement and attitude toward Deion Sanders. And so in that case, you can see how people, the dynamic that I just mentioned earlier, it isn't that that Deion Sanders, for example, it isn't that he committed any real offense. It's just that people's perception of what he's doing, right? They can't understand or can't accept what he's doing, and so then that in and of itself becomes a character flaw in the minds of a lot of people. Enough people for it to be embedded into the conversation. You can't have the conversation without somebody throwing in, some kind of a derogatory. The injustice. They're so indignant that he's leaving, and I'm gonna, I just have to say it. The other part of the reality is that we end up, what we're not doing is we're not realizing the extent to which other people are willing to court our greats. We're not really taking into consideration the whole time that we're having this perception and treating our leaders and our highliners this way. We're not really paying attention to the ways that other people are perceiving them and the way other people are willing to court them. Okay, I'm thinking about things that I know from back in the day in California, and knowing, I lived in the Bay Area, where there are a lot of great cultural icons like drummers, dancers, priests. For some reason, the Bay Area attracts a lot of really talented folk performers and practitioners from around the world: Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, West Africa, you name it. There are a lot of great people who have either made their home in the Bay or who have passed through and spent a significant amount of time in the Bay Area. But here's the thing that is a dynamic, and this is not just the Bay Area, but I saw it in other parts of California too. You get people who are not of African descent who see this drummer, this dancer, this priest, this, what have you, and they know that this guy is top notch. And so what do? They get 3 or 4 guys together, they put their money together, and they'll go as far as they will pay this guy's rent. They'll bring the guy from wherever he is. He might be in Africa, he might be in Cuba, he might be in New York, he might be in Miami, but they will put their money together and they will bring this guy to their town and basically sponsor his lifestyle. Your rent is paid. We're going to take care of everything. You'll have your clothes. You're going to have your phone. You're going to have some money in your pocket. Everything. We're going to set you up with workshops. We're going to set you up with classes. We're going to get you some gigs at local colleges or museums or libraries, so you can earn money like that. We'll write down your ideas and write a book for you. Et cetera, et cetera. We're going to do all of this. The only thing we want is you're going to teach us everything you know for the next 5 years. And these guys essentially they sponsor this guy for years. This can go on, right? Meanwhile, we're complaining. It would be so ironic that you would have these people who are non-African descent, white people basically, paying the African or the Cuban or the Brazilian, right? And they're sponsoring his whole lifestyle. Then you have the black people on the other side who are mad that the African or the Cuban or the Brazilian is patronizing the white people or letting the white people patronize him. And they're criticizing this brother or this sister. It's usually a man though. It's almost I never saw a woman in this scenario. But they're criticizing the person while meanwhile they can't put their money together to pay for a $20 class. They can't put their money together to go to a weekend workshop. They want it for free and they want it for themselves, and they resent the fact that the brother is giving it to the white people. You see, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, y'all. It doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. It doesn't make sense. Why would I do that as the subject matter expert? Why would I not take the offer from the people who are going to sponsor my whole program and promote my entire career, set me up with gigs up and down the coast, across the country, so that I can just get street credibility by saying that I taught with Rufus and them in the hood for 5 years, and maybe 2 people even learned the content? Because this is the other part of it. It's not like the brothers and sisters are wanting to monopolize your time so that they can master the content. Nope. They just don't want the white guy to get it. And that is something that I've seen more than 3 times. Okay. And it's something that we that's just the reality. I'm just giving you the reality. And so we need to make our own decisions about, well, if we want to continue to perpetuate that reality or if we want to do something different. Right? If we want to do something different. I think that we would be better off by doing something different. But to do something different, meaning we should be the ones sponsoring our own stars. We should be the ones recruiting and really taking super good care of our own people, so that it's never even an option to think about going to another part of town or into another community, because my own people are treating me like a king. My feet don't touch the ground, because my people are totally taking care of me. They're totally making sure I am taken care of. I want for nothing, right? We need to create that kind of an experience for the people that we consider our treasures. We need to treat them like treasures, right? And of course, in that, what we are afraid of is, oh, well, if I give this person all of that, then somehow they're going to cheat me, right? If I give this person all of that, somehow I'm going to come up short. They're not going to do something. I don't know. But I definitely see it as a hindrance in our ability to truly flourish and create the kind of experiences that will really enrich the process, right? It hinders our ability to do so. And so I just want to encourage all the folks who are practitioners of Orisha lifestyle, where you have found someone who you consider your teacher, where you have found someone who you consider worthy of paying attention to. make it your honor and your duty to support that person unconditionally. Support the person in the way that you see that they support their craft, right? Because the people who are in that kind of a position, they were doing it. They were doing it before the white boys showed up anyway. They were doing it broke, eating peanut butter, just peanut butter, not even peanut butter and crackers. They were playing the drum when all they had to eat was peanut butter. They were doing the chants when they lived in a thimble with a hole in it. They were preparing the rituals and doing the ceremonies when it was just them and their little brother, and there was no you know what I mean, there were no cameras. They're dedicated. In other words, that's how they've gotten to the point where they are. It's because they've dedicated their entire life to it. So when you see someone who becomes proficient like that, you know that this person is already sacrificed. They've already demonstrated complete commitment to their craft. So you should commit to them the way that they have committed to the craft. That's how you that is what I want to encourage you to do. That's the shift in the perception that I want you to make. Don't look at it like they owe you something. They've already given you everything. They've already given everything to the craft. And everything that you can do to help them continue with the craft is that you're now helping to pay for the years and perhaps decades of dedication that they have already given to you before you even knew what the subject was, before you had ever heard of Ifa, before you had ever heard of an Odu, before you had ever heard Orisha. This person was investing in your future. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking to him for direction. Otherwise, you wouldn't be coming to him for guidance and support. So he's already paid you. He's already given you everything. Now it's time for you to do what you can to pay him back. Okay? And that'll be difficult for some people to grasp. You have a lot of disclaimers, or not even disclaimers. You have a lot of conditions, and people are going to, bristle at the notion. But sincerely, that's what I think is the remedy for us as a community. That's how we need to shift our perception of our star performers who are providing us with the kinds of services and knowledge and training that we need to practice the tradition that we believe is going to save our lives and transform our communities. So I hope this is meaningful and insightful for you, and you'll be able to make good use of it in your respective corner. As always, I'm directing this message to the leaders. I am hoping that this message will reach the minds and the hearts of the leaders, the people who are committed to transforming the world through personal sacrifice and positive influence. If you're one of those people, then I want you to find out how Obafemi Origunwa and the Orisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice and your life to the next level. Join us today. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com. And let's start working together to live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you're destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.